All right, guys, we are doing our chapter 6, our American culture, lesson 2, cultures in our country. We're going to review and then we're going to take our quiz. So let's go ahead. We're on chapter 6, lesson 2. And then yesterday, you guys told me we were on page 187 if you have your book. We're going to reread through the pages and then we're going to answer the questions. Why don't we look at the questions first and then we'll read. Okay, a diverse school has students in every class from the same country who speak different languages, who always do their homework. Why is Chinatown in San Francisco a unique neighborhood? It is in a big city in California. There is a lot of Chinese culture. Many musicians and artists live there, or there are many restaurants and shops. What festival do people in San Antonio celebrate? Pueblo, Mardi Gras, Cinco de Mayo, or Chinese New Year? What is jazz music? Music which came from Africa, music which came from Europe, a mix of music from Africa and Europe, music which came from other parts of America. And at the Hmong Festival in St. Paul, they play a game popular in their homeland that is similar to volleyball, baseball, basketball, or hockey. So those are the 5 questions that we're going to be answering today. Before we get started answering those questions for your digital quick check, let's go ahead and reread. Unique, being the only one of something special. Diverse, from many different places. A parade is a march to celebrate a special event. Verb means to settle. Settle means to be in one place for a long time. And character is qualities that make up something. Unlock the big question. I will know about different cultures in the United States.
Many cultures, one country. People came to the United States from all over the world. They brought their unique or special culture and heritage with them. Today, our country is very diverse. This means it is made up of many different cultures. People like to share their culture. They enjoy learning about different food, music, and celebrations. 1. Reading check. Highlight the true sentence. People in America come from one place. People in America come from many different places.
And this is going to be on your quiz. People in America come from many different places. And we know this because they may look different. They might have different like foods or clothing that they wear. They might speak different languages. They might listen to different music. Now we're going to be learning about Chinese New Year in San Francisco.
Lesson 2, Cultures in our country. San Francisco, California. Many Chinese Americans live in San Francisco. Some live in a unique neighborhood called Chinatown. There, many restaurants and shops sell Chinese food. People speak English and Chinese. Parents teach their children about Chinese culture. Chinese New Year is a big festival in San Francisco. Every year, May's parents help her and her brother make decorations for a parade. A parade is a march to celebrate a special event. Together, they create a big, colorful dragon and carry it down the street. People watch the parade as they celebrate the new year. Chinese people have celebrated this festival for generations. It is an important part of their heritage. 2. Reading check. How do you celebrate the new year? Tell a partner.
Now, we talked about the different ways that we celebrated the New Year yesterday. On Chinese New Year, they celebrate with big red dragon parades. They have special music. They wear red. Now we're going to learn about Cinco de Mayo in San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio, Texas. Many Mexican Americans live in San Antonio, Texas. Pedro was born in Texas, but his grandmother was born in Mexico. She speaks to him in Spanish and teaches him to cook traditional Mexican food. Pedro learns about his culture from her. On May 5, 1862, the Mexican army beat the French army in Puebla, Mexico. Every year, people in San Antonio celebrate this event with food, music, and dancing. The holiday is called Cinco de Mayo. Pedro and his family always join in the festival. It is part of their culture. The festival helps form the unique character of San Antonio. 3. Reading check. Compare. Answer the question by writing words to complete the sentence. How is Pedro's life similar to his grandmother's? They both blank.
They both share their same language. They both might, they live in the same place. They're part of each other's family. She teaches him how to speak Spanish and about traditional Mexican food. So then he is able to speak Spanish and make those traditional Mexican dishes. Now we're going to be learning about New Orleans, Louisiana. Remember, where does jazz music come from? This page is going to answer that question for you guys.
New Orleans, Louisiana. People from many different cultures live in New Orleans, Louisiana. Long ago, immigrants settled or moved there from parts of Europe, and enslaved people were brought from Africa. They brought their unique music with them. Over the years, the music mixed together. Today, we call this type of music jazz.
So
Quest Connections. What traditional clothing have you seen at a festival?
I forgot that there's more to it. So they brought their unique music with them. So there were people from Europe who enslaved people from Africa. And then eventually, over time, the European music and the African music blended, mixed together, and created jazz music. So jazz music is a combination of the mixing of European and African style music.
Or celebration. Jazz music is important to the culture here. It is played at baseball games and important events. Each year there is a big festival in New Orleans with parades, music, and food. It is called Mardi Gras. Jazz musicians march down the street while people dance and have fun. Alex's family has lived in New Orleans for generations. They join in the Mardi Gras parade every year. Alex's parents have passed down their love of jazz music to him.
And I believe this is the last, or not the last, the last second to last.
St. Paul, Minnesota. Many Hmong live in St. Paul, Minnesota today. Paj was born here, but her parents came from Laos 10 years ago. Paj's mother teaches her to cook traditional Hmong food. It is very spicy and delicious. Every summer there is a Hmong festival in St. Paul. People gather here to celebrate their culture. They sing and dance, eat traditional food, and play a game that is popular in their homeland. This game is similar to volleyball, but players cannot touch the ball with their hands. Paj's father played this game in Laos. He is teaching Paj to play the game too.
So this game
4. Reading check.
Is similar to volleyball, but instead of using your hands, you can only use like your feet and your head to get the ball over in the net. So it is this game that the Hmong people play is very similar to volleyball.
It's like soccer.
Yeah,
It's like
soccer too. It's like soccer and volleyball because
it's like soccer, but like the net is higher.
Yeah. And instead of putting into the net, you put it over the net, like in volleyball.
Together as one. America is made of immigrants from all over the world. They have each brought their own language, food, music, clothing, festivals, and traditions. Together, these cultures form the unique character of our country.
All right, guys. So what we're going to do is we are going to work on our digital quick check. You guys are going to go through the questions with me. And then after we look at it together, then you guys are going to answer it on your own. All right, let's go ahead and work on it. Ready? Put your answers in the chat. Instead of unmuting, put your answers in the chat. A diverse school has students in every class from the same country who speak different languages, who always do their homework. So if you go to a diverse school, what does that mean? That means very good. C, Ava and Eva, you are correct. C, who speak different languages. So for example, if you speak Spanish and I speak Korean and another student speaks Chinese or Tagalog or Japanese, you are in a diverse school because there's a lot of there's a diverse population of students. They're all from different cultures. C is correct. Number 2, why is Chinatown in San Francisco a unique neighborhood? Why is Chinatown in San Francisco a unique neighborhood? A, it is in a big city in California. B, there is a lot of Chinese culture. C, many musicians and artists live there. D, there are many restaurants and shops. Why is Chinatown unique? I get there's a little bit of some people. Okay, so some of you guys are saying D, there are many restaurants and shops. Well, that doesn't necessarily make it unique. Like here in Cerritos, you guys have a lot of restaurants and shops. If you go to other places like in Buena Park, there's still lots of restaurants and shops. If you go to Lakewood or Long Beach, there are still a lot of restaurants and shops. So restaurants and shops, it's very popular to have those in big cities, like cities where we live. So it's not going to be D. Okay, I see Sierra and Nicholas and Ava putting a lot of B's in the chat. So let's see. There is a lot of Chinese culture. Yes. Why do they call that area Chinatown in San Francisco? Because there's a lot of Chinese culture. There's a lot of Chinese restaurants. There's a lot of Chinese shops. And they also do a really big celebration for Chinese New Year because there are many Chinese Americans and Chinese people who live there. What festival do people in San Antonio, Texas celebrate? Okay, we haven't learned about Puebla. We know that Chinese New Year is very largely celebrated in San Francisco, which is in California. So it's either going to be Mardi Gras or Cinco de Mayo. Very good, Eva and Ava. Cinco de Mayo, good job, is correct. In San Antonio, Texas, they celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Number 4, what is jazz music? I helped you guys with this one earlier. What is jazz music? Is it A, music which came from Africa? B, music which came from Europe? C, a mix of music from Africa and Europe? Or D, music which came from other parts of America? Now we remember, in New Orleans, there was a lot of people who came from Europe, and a lot of those people in Europe back then, they didn't know any better, and they would enslave people from Africa, which was not a very kind thing to do. So then, because there are a lot of Europeans and a lot of Africans who had their music and that lived there, a lot of the people, they started to mix their music. So then European music and African music started to mix together, and that is how we got jazz music. So very good. C is correct, a mix of music from Africa and Europe. Last one. At the Hmong Festival in St. Paul, they play a game popular in their homeland that is similar to what?
Volleyball.
Good job, and volleyball was the correct answer. All right, guys. Again, you guys are going to work on any incomplete work. If your name is anywhere on here, you need to stay and get those done. Everybody needs to take this quiz now. This quiz is in Savvis EasyBridge.